welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for not calling my wife's daughter to invite her to Christmas? And guys, this story is about a guy, he's in his early 60s, and he's sharing a story that went over a span of like 30 years when he got together with his now late wife, who passed away a few years earlier, and got together with her, and she had a daughter from a previous marriage. You're going to see that, yeah, she was a single MOM, but she's a single MOM because her husband died, I believe, in a car accident, so it's not like, the usual reasons. And he married her and was good to her daughter, and her daughter was nothing but a giant pain in the ass the entire relationship. This guy tried, and the girl was just never-ending disrespect. And you're going to see eventually, way later in life, he has enough. And I'm going to go over here, guys, once again to remind you that your relationship guy, stick to the gals that don't have any kids. And while there certainly are women out there that do have kids, and the reason they're single is because things like the husband passed away, an accident, or dying in the line of duty if he's a police officer, military, something. Still, even though she could be really great, and it happens sometimes, the kid could be a giant pain in the ass, which you're going to be dealing with for the duration of your relationship with her mother, marriage, or whatever. And so sometimes it's just not worth it. Or if you're going to go down that route, you got to lay down the law with the kid, not be a pushover, because nobody deserves that type of disrespect. It says, starts off, says, I think I need to start by saying, this is a throwaway, whatever. I, a 63-year-old male, lost my wife Beth, a 60-year-old female, 3 years ago. We've been together for 30 years. Whew. I'm sorry to hear that, man. When I met my wife, she was already a widow. Her first husband had died in a car accident. She had a daughter, who's Jane, who's now 43 years old, who was 6 years old at the time her father passed away. We married when Jane was about 10 years old. Okay. When I came into Jane's life, I had no idea how to be a parent to her. I expressed my fears to Beth, but she said just let her take the lead. I wouldn't let her take the lead. I talked with Jane and told her that I knew I could never replace her dad and was not trying to. However, I'd be willing to do all the dad stuff that her dad wasn't around to do if she wanted. Okay, this guy's a good guy. He's trying to be good for the girl, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, the 6-year-old, any kid would be messed up if their dad died in a car accident. But there's a point that you have to let go and move on. But, watch this. I drove her to practices, attended every performance, stayed up late to help her study for math tests, taught her to drive and shoot. Shared my love of fantasy literature and Star Trek. Our relationship was always hot and cold, though. While she seemed happy, I was never her dad, or stepdad, or even Uncle Sam. I was just Sam. So I get that, he'll never replace her father, but she could treat him well and see he's trying to treat her well. The problem is this guy's being too nice and accommodating. She can't even call him Uncle Sam, just Sam. Beth and I had a son, Tom, who's 32, and my daughter, Christy, 29. Jane has a reasonable relationship with her half-siblings, considering their age difference. A year or so after Christy was born, Jane became sullen and despondent. After talking with Beth, I offered to adopt Jane. Jane did not take this well and never brought up again. I was the main disciplinarian parent in our household, and while none of the kids were troublemakers, they all did what they did to get grounded on their privileges with their cars taken away. I think Jane resented this as well. In other words, kids are going to be kids sometimes. Even teenagers are going to be little shits, and privileges are taken away like cars. When Jane graduated high school, each student was able to purchase 2 tickets to the ceremony. Jane purchased 2 tickets, and I thought I would be attending. But the week of the ceremony, Beth told me that Jane wanted to use her second seat to memorialize her father. So she got 2 seats, because a lot of times graduation, it's a packed house. Like usually kids get 2 tickets or 4 or something like that. And only her mom can come in an empty seat for the invisible deceased dad to sit in. Yeah, not cool. This guy's been raising you since you were 6 years old, been great to you, and this is what you do? I was hurt, but I understood. She put a picture of him in the empty chair next to her mom. I think it also hurt Beth as well. Jane was an excellent student, and she got good scholarships. And I paid the remainder of her cost to go to college. I did get to go to that graduation. So she's being a pain in the ass growing up, giving you disrespect, can't invite you to the graduation, you're paying for part of her college. No. Let her pay for that, dude. When Jane got married, Beth and I were not able to pay for the entirety of her wedding. We paid about half. She had her father's younger brother walk her down the aisle. She would spend a week or two during the summer with her father's family. So this guy who's been raising her didn't get to walk her down the aisle. At the reception, my wife was again seated next to an empty chair to memorialize Jane's father. I was not given a seat with Beth at the family table, and honestly, I don't remember where I was supposed to be because I spent my time at the bar or staying behind Beth, who was having a very hard time. What a little shit. Even at the own wedding, he can't have a seat at the table with the family. She is a fucking asshole. You know, lots of kids go through tragedies when they're young, and many will let go. But I've known ones, and there usually are women that just drag this shit out for their whole lives, using an excuse to be assholes. This guy has been way too nice and accommodating. I mean, he's a good guy, you can tell, but look at the shit he's dealing with. And, you know, the mother and him should have a united front about this little asshole. It's one thing if she's emotional as a kid and a teenager, because teenagers do that shit to a point you be understanding. But as a grown-ass adult pulling this crap, no. At the reception, I read that part. However, it was a lovely wedding, and once the dancing started and everybody was out of their seats, I stopped worrying about where I was supposed to be. If they're paying for part of this wedding, you can be damn sure that he is going to be sitting at the family table, and she's not going to pull that shit. They're too nice. They coddle her. When Jane had her first kid, Beth and I were overjoyed. However, I soon learned that my wife was going to be a gram, but I was not going to be a grandpa, but still just Sam. I'm Sam to both her children. This was again something that hurt. And when Tom had his first child, he asked if I wanted to be a granddad, or Sam to his kids, and I jumped to getting to be grandpa. Jane ended up getting divorced about 4 years ago, shortly before Beth was diagnosed with cancer. She and her kids moved in with us, and we helped her with her lawyer until everything was finalized. Shocker, she got divorced, because I'm sure she's a real wonderful woman to be around. And now she's allowed to move in. During my wife's last year, Jane was with us all the time. It was a huge help to both Beth and I. After Beth passed, I was a wreck and mostly useless. I wasn't right, and Jane ended up doing most of the funeral preparation. I'm very grateful for the help she provided. When Jane's father had died, his mother had helped with the funeral expenses and had purchased a double plot. When Jane prepared the funeral, she organized everything so that Beth would be buried next to Jane's father, her first husband. Oh, really? How interesting. Did the mother want this? I'm sure this guy didn't know about it. Talk about a smack in the face to this guy. I was shocked. I felt that was done somewhat behind my back. It was, dude. My wife had never told me about this, but Jane assured me that this is what Beth would have wanted. Wanted, or what she would have wanted in her opinion. I talked with Tom and Christy, and they know I intend to be cremated. Because of that, they thought that this was reasonable, and the plot was already paid for. At the memorial service, Jane was rightfully upset. She told many of the memories that she had, and that she was now orphaned, and she and her 2 kids had no close family left. What an asshole. This upset Tom and Christy a lot, but I tried to explain that it was different for Jane. I talked with Jane during the memorial and told her that she does have a family, and that welcomes her if she wants it. She thanked me and was polite. Dude, you are too fucking nice. This is a good guy, don't get me wrong. He means well and everything, but too fucking nice, this little shithead. You know, it's just like... Unfortunately, I've known some people like this, and most of them are women like this. And he didn't do anything wrong. He's not the reason that her dad died or anything like that. God almighty. I've not really talked with Jane since the memorial. Good, I wouldn't talk to her either. The first year, I invited Jane to the all-family get-togethers just like before, even though Tom and Christy were angry with her. Yeah, listen to your kids. I left her voicemails asking how she was doing, how her kids are. However, the last couple of years, I've stopped because I never get a response. There you go, dude. I still send her and her kids gifts for their birthdays and Christmas. I just don't actively reach out. One of the last voicemails, I left her and told her all she needed to do was call and I would help her. Alright, at this point I'm going to get this guy a good smack. Smack! Should have before. Bro, you're enabling her behavior. She knows no matter what she does to you, you're going to keep coming back for more. Remember, women don't respect weakness? But when a guy starts laying down the law, amazing how things change. And I know he's doing this in the memory of her mother, but even her mother's got to realize that she's a little shithead. With all that info, here's where I might be the a-hole. Well, if you're being an a-hole, you're doing something right. My daughter, Christy, is getting married next year. She reached out to Jane the past few months and has been working on reconciling with her. Why? She's a little fucking bitch. Additionally, Jane's ex lives in a different state with her kids. They'll be gone most of the holidays. Jane has told Christy about how alone she is feeling. Christy called me and asked me to invite Jane to my house for Christmas. Christy and her fiancé will be there along with Tom and his family, and I told Christy that Jane knows that she's always invited. Translation, I'm not reaching out anymore. I'm done playing her fucking game. And I like how Jane's playing the woe is me. I have nowhere to go for the holidays. You created the mess that you're in. This guy's been great to her since she was a 6-year freaking old, and this is the crap she's... come on. Christy says that Jane won't come if I don't call and ask her to come. I told Christy that she could invite Jane or she could tell Jane to call me. Christy says I'm being an a-hole for not calling Jane. Well, tell your daughter Christy to fuck off. You've been putting up with crap from another girl forever. Tell Christy to fuck off too. You've done everything for this Jane character. No. Jane just wants to make you jump through hoops. I talked with my son Tom and he said he's tired of the rest of us having to beg Jane to be part of our family. I love Jane, she's my daughter, but after so much, I just feel like the only way this will work is if she takes the first step. Well, there you go, it's about goddamn time. And I want to hear that you love Jane and see her as your daughter. She's not your daughter. You've tried everything, she doesn't behave in any way like your daughter, alright? So I'm out of the a-hole for not calling my wife's daughter to invite her to Christmas. Jane, if you see this, just call me. No, you're not the a-hole. You've been a jackass and too nice for so long. I get things when she's a kid and a teenager maybe, but a grown-ass adult, the wedding fiasco, the funeral, no, the hell with her. You don't owe her anything. You don't owe her mother anything. Her mother should understand. And I gotta wonder if her mother is just also enabling her behavior. Clearly. He continues, little updates here. He says, I'm really astounded by all the comments. I thought I would just get a few, but there are too many to answer them all. I do feel the need to clear some things up, though. I try to be the best parent I could be to Jane and best help. I never wanted her to feel like our family was not also her family, or that her family had to be replaced. I never felt like an ATM. Well, it sounds like you've been an ATM to me. You tried your best. You were a good guy. Look where that kindness got you. I paid less than half of Jane's schooling because of her scholarships. What'd you get a scholarship for? Being a fucking ingrate? Being a bitch? I did what we could for her wedding, and yes, I was pissed about the seating and who got to walk her down the aisle. But Beth reminded me it was her day, not mine. No. It could be her. I could see her maybe trying to pull the crap with the walking down the aisle thing, perhaps, but the seating arrangements and other things, no. And even walking down, I take that back. Walking down the aisle, and this guy's been a father to her since she's 6 years old. I think she secretly blames him somehow. You know, it's not like he hit her father in the car accident or something like that, or caused the car accident. It says here, I'll be paying for a larger share of Christy's wedding, and that Jane, then I did Jane's because my financial situation is different now. But Christy has asked for the same thing I think her mom would have fought with me over already. But that's a story for another post. I don't think I did anything that would make Jane resent me besides marrying her mom. Well, that was it. She sees you as replacing her dad. You know? That's it. And it's not your fault. But this is what can happen, guys, if you marry a single MOM and the kid's a shithead to you. You know? This guy should have done a way better job laying down the law with her. And I bet you if he did, if he wasn't so understanding, it would have been a different outcome. However, Jane has, except for a few occasions, always been polite and friendly to me. Yeah, polite and friendly to you. Yeah, she smiles as she says, fuck you. Maybe I should have put the wedding stuff in the post at all, but maybe I shouldn't have put it in at all, but she did not have the not father-daughter dance at me at the wedding. When Beth passed, Jane told me that her mother was amazingly lucky to have found true love twice in one lifetime. Yeah, fuck you. When I offered to adopt Jane, it went very badly. Beth and I had sat her down and made the offer. We thought that after the birth of Christy, she was feeling left out. It backfired horribly. Jane said that she didn't want my stupid effing name. I tried to explain that she wouldn't need to change her name, but she started screaming at me that she didn't want my stupid effing name, family, or anything like that. This is when she's a teenager. Yeah, teenagers are so wonderful. Both Beth and I told her that this response was completely unacceptable, but she kept saying nasty things that teenagers say to both Beth and me. Yeah, and you shouldn't fucking tolerate it. I told her that her behavior is totally unacceptable, and since her mom had lots of class and manners, that this behavior must come from her stupid fucking father's family. Ooh, insulting her dad. Well, you know what? This guy's pushed too far. Beth told me I wasn't helping and that I left while she talked with Jane. And a couple days later, Jane asked to talk with Beth and I privately. She said she wanted to move in with her uncle. I figured this was a hollow threat from a teenager since the uncle lived 2 states away and her life and friends were all where we live. I said something like, well, if that's how you feel, you and your mom can work it out. I will make it happen. I then left. Jane didn't move out. I did tell her I was glad she chose to stay with us. Our relationship did get better, but never substantially improved after that point, so I'm not a saint, I'm human, I did my best. Well, you did your best, but you're too nice. And notice she didn't move out, it was a threat, and when he actually gave her some shit and a little bit, look how she reacted, She didn't move out. So, I'm going to read some comments, but I just got to say this. So guys, I'm glad this guy's finally had enough. He's not reaching out to her. Good, and he's not the a-hole. He's been the a-hole. He's been too fucking nice. But this was what can happen. And it sounded like his wife was good to him, but the wife never clearly... It sounds like the daughter just kept getting away with things because the mother probably felt bad she lost the dad. And the mother should have been standing up for the husband. She may have been good to him, one-on-one, but with the daughter, no. So guys, this is what you can deal with potentially if you're going to be the big hero and get involved with a single MOM. She could be good to you, but the daughter's a total freaking asshole. You're not my dad, that type of thing. And if you get in that relationship, be prepared to lay down the law, but you can be battling the mother. It's your choice. Now, some comments before I wrap this up. One guy says, as someone who's always been the bigger person and turning the other cheek, my life got immensely better once I stopped going 80% and hoping for him to come 20% and then going 90%. You're not the a-hole if you leave it well enough alone. You've tried enough. My concern is with the I'll try one last time is that there's never one last time. There's always one more reason. And soon you'll have to give in so much of yourself you didn't live for yourself. Take it from me, once you live for yourself and keep the relationships that bring you joy versus drain you, your life will be so much better. In other words, drop the bitch. If I were him, I'd be like, next time I saw a Jane character, I say, your whole life, since you were a kid, I've been good to you, I've been patient, gone above and beyond the call of duty for a stepfather, and you've been shitting on me every step of the way with a smile on your face. You're not a kid anymore, you're not a teenager, we're done. I wish you the best, but you're not my daughter anymore. I gave you all the chances. I tried for your mother, I tried because I cared for you, end of story. And if his own kids have a problem with this, fuck them. That's what he should do. That's what he should have done a long time ago. Or not got involved with the single MOM. Another one, not the a-hole and I'd leave it. You spent the past 35 years being the bigger person here. Understandable when she was a child and she chose your role in her life. But as an adult, she's fine taking your money, but then treating you like an outsider. If I, with my spouse, had paid for half the wedding, but then wasn't given a seat with my spouse or the family, I would have had enough. She then, when you were grieving and you're most vulnerable, had your wife buried somewhere without your input. All these actions are to hurt you and frankly, fairly despicable. You have been more than kind. It's exhausting just to read this and see how much you've done. I agree with your son. You've set yourself and your whole world on fire to keep this ungrateful asshole warm. And still left the door open, it's on her now. End of story. Thank God his son is the voice of reason here. The guy. One more. So Jane actively rejects your attempts to include her in your family and then complains to your daughter about how alone she is. And you're all good enough to be family only when her kids are away and she has no one else. That hardly sounds like family. You and your son and daughter are not placeholders till her kids come back. And what she will tell her kids when they ask her where she spent the holidays. At Sam's? And who exactly is Sam that she has to be included in her family's Christmas? Your son is absolutely right. I'm a little stunned with what your daughter thought she had to reconcile with Jane. What exactly did your daughter do to Jane that she has to reconcile and take the initiative for the relationship? The fact that she has a father who is still alive? ? Jane needs therapy, and you're absolutely right in your stand. No relationship works with just one person putting in all the effort. If Jane is reconciling with Christy, then her invitation is enough. You needing to explicitly call her isn't a requirement. She's not coming for you, she's coming for Christy. You're definitely not the a-hole, and I hope you stand your ground. Well, at least he's improving a little bit, and I hope this guy does stand his ground, but it's like, how much disrespect does this guy have to endure? He doesn't owe her anything. She's a grown-ass fucking woman in her 40s, for goodness sake. He doesn't owe the wife anything. She's gone. He's been trying for 35 fucking years. So there you go, gentlemen. Don't be that nice guy, white knight, that gets constantly shit on by other people, whether it be the single MOM or her kid or kids. And remember, in life, and this is also a lesson for life, guys. If you're constantly a giver and trying to be the better person and being taken advantage of, no place to be. And people are out there that will be more than happy to take advantage of you. You're like that. And if you don't believe me, well, keep doing what this guy does. And if you say you can't change who you are, well, then keep suffering. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.